So
Yeah, let's get a new one open for you. Totally different story, but while we're talking about really good evaluations of tight ends, about Brody Foley from Tulsa. You brought this name to me. I'd never heard of Brody Foley. I probably should have. Pretty big recruit out of Cincinnati. He was one of the highest rated recruits in the history of Indiana. He
yeah.
was like a 4-star player. 247 really had it on this one. They had him rated really high, higher than the composite. I think composite's 3-star, 4-star, and 247. He was originally a running back and linebacker before a growth spurt. Played 3 years special teams of Indiana, not a lot of offense, and then this year has completely blown up and looks like at 6'6", 260 redshirt junior, potential NFL player.
Yeah, I mean, 34 catches, top 15 mark among tight ends in the FBS, 509 receiving yards, fourth most amongst tight ends in the FBS, 7 receiving touchdowns, leads all tight ends. And he also has 2 rushing touchdowns on just 4 carries. So this guy's kind of been the whole offense for Tulsa, is what I'm getting at here. And I don't know how else to put it other than he's like a yak monster. Some of the play designs they run for him, like they'll have him come behind the line and just toss it up to him right behind the line of scrimmage, let him run with the ball. He's gonna cut, make a man miss. He's gonna stiff arm a guy, make a man miss. It doesn't really matter how it's gonna happen, but he's gonna break at least one tackle every time. And he's like their primary screen gadget play guy at 6'6", 260 pounds. So that's why, like, he was such a highly rated recruit, and you kind of see that pop up, and it never really worked out. Worked out at Indiana. He played under Kurt last year. Obviously, this is his first year at Tulsa, but he's got another year. He's been one of the most productive tight ends in the country, and maybe he stays at Tulsa and has just a monster year next year, or maybe he goes somewhere else. And this could be another one of those, Tanner Colziol, Terrence Carter, group of 5 tight ends who had put up a lot of numbers last year, and then enters the portal and goes to a Power 5 team or Power 4 team and puts up numbers once again.
Yeah, there's a connection between, I guess, the tight end coach of Indiana and Trey Lamb, the head coach of Tulsa. Just hearing Trey Lamb talk about in one of these pressers, he said that Cignetti wanted more receivers on the field, so he kind of de-emphasized the tight end, and that allowed Foley to enter the portal. And then the tight end coach for Indiana was friends with Trey Lamb and said, "Hey, you want to get this guy? This guy's a really good player, and I think he's got more to do if you feed him the ball." I'm curious to see where this guy goes. He does have another year of eligibility. I think he would, just watching his highlights and watching what he's been doing lately. He would have a lot of love in the portal. You said the yak, the fact they throw him all those shuttles, formerly a running back, so you could see that when he's doing all those things. I always think when it comes to running back, I know this name is not a popular name because of off the field stuff, but anytime a tight end's playing running back, I think of like an Aaron Hernandez. They used to throw in those shuttles all the time. That was one of his kind of strengths, was just a lateral quickness. Lateral quickness in a tight end is so big because it's big at every position, but really a tight end, you got to get open fast. So I think those guys that are laterally quick that you see have that run after catch, not only do they get those short passes and do something with them, which is a big part of the tight end's job, but they can get open faster because their short area is pretty high level. So I think that was a interesting part of this guy's profile. Will he go pro? I don't know how deep the tight end class is this year. Last year's was ridiculous. So we'll see if this year is equally strong at tight end, just playing it through. I mean, you have Sadiq at Oregon, Kyle Stowers. I'm thinking about my Marlins. Eli Stowers at Vanderbilt, who we highlighted last week. Who else is looking strong at tight end as a potential prospect? It seems like a thinner year compared to last year. We had Warren, Arroyo, Loveland, Mason Taylor, Ferguson, a lot of high level guys. So maybe he tested in the pros, or comes back to Tulsa, or pulls Will Held. I'm sorry, I'm trying to blank on the name. The tight end for Ohio State.
Yeah. Oh, I forget it.
Yeah. So the Purdue tight end transferred to Ohio State, and I know he got paid a pretty penny. Max Clare. Clare.
Yeah.
Will Halt was the Purdue defensive end that went to
defensive end. Yeah.
Max Clare, who transferred from Purdue to Ohio State, made a pretty penny. Obviously, he's on a pretty good team. So I don't know if it's helped his stock or hurt his stock particularly, but I know it helped his pocketbook quite a bit to make that move. 295 yards for Claire on the year, so he's doing fine at Ohio State. But I think maybe that's in the cards for our friend here, Brody Foley. But definitely someone to keep an eye on when you have that kind of size and that ability to roll with the ball in your hands.
Yeah. It won't load. I was trying to pull up the consensus tight end rankings right now, but it in a class where you have Sadiq and you have Claire and you have these guys who are kind of putting up good numbers in the receiving game, they're all undersized. And then you have a 6'6", 260-pounder. Here we go. Okay. Kenyon Sadiq, number one, is 6'3", 255. Justin Jolie is up there, 6'3", 250.
Yeah, which I'm not sure Jolie, who I like, is that much different physically than Foley. As far as
I agree. Michael Trigg, 6'3", 250. Terrence Carter, 6'2", 245. A lot of these weights are probably
these are tweeners we're getting
a little inflated, I think. Stowers, 6'3", 240 for Vandy. Royer. So really, I mean, he would be one of the bigger tight ends in this class. And I guess I don't know. I haven't really looked at like what next year's class could look like, but ultimately, do you want to mess? If I'm him, I'm probably entering the portal and trying to get a bag from one of these schools. You never know how the production at the group of 5 level is going to translate to NFL stuff. So get a bag while you're in college. I think this is probably a guy we'll be talking about in December or January.
If you're trying to look at tight end trends, right? How we get tight ends in the portal. Claire is an easy one. That guy was the top tight end. He was a really good player in the Big Ten. But you look at Stowers and you look at Foley, they were big recruits. They just didn't have the opportunity to kind of do what they do. They played multiple positions. So you get a guy who enters the portal as a big recruit, doesn't work at their first stop. In the case of Stowers, who was Texas A&M, Foley, Indiana. And then you say, okay, can we harness some of that athletic ability in a bigger role, build more around them? They'll get more manufactured touches because we're Tulsa. We got to get the ball to our best athletes. We can't just have them get lost in the wash at a big program like Indiana or Texas A&M. And then the player develops. So maybe if you're looking for a tight end in the portal, you look at some of these highly rated washout guys and say, man, this guy's got a lot of ability. He can move. He's got size. Didn't get the ball. It's hard to get tight ends the ball if they're not like a featured guy like a Tyler Warren. So hey, let's see what happens when we feature him. So just food for thought as we move forward here on Group Chat Sports. Speaking of transfers,